Good morning, friends. As we continue to consider the truth of Jesus being called Emmanuel, meaning God with us, I thought we'd go back to that whole cultural issue we talked about on Sunday. We know, because of what the angel said, that Joseph was afraid to take Mary as his wife after, of course, finding out that she was pregnant, supposedly due to an adulterous affair. But it wasn't a simple choice for Joseph for a number of reasons, not least of which was his remaining love for Mary. Despite what some may say, and what certainly has been the case throughout history, this betrothal between Mary and Joseph seemed to have been because of their mutual love for each other. Now, it could certainly have been arranged by their parents, but if so, either they learned to love one another quickly, or their parents knew they already loved each other and so arranged for them to be married for that reason. And for the sake of love, Joseph was racked with doubt about going through with the divorce, but was also fearful of what it would mean to marry a woman who had engaged in such clearly immoral behavior. But as we also saw Sunday, that there could be another reason for Joseph's fear of going through with this marriage, and that was the expectations and the backlash he might face from the day's religious leaders. We mentioned the Targum, the authoritative explanations of the scriptures, which, while being drastically wrong about what the scriptures actually commanded, they still served as the religious law of the land. And that religious authority of the day demanded that an adulterous woman not be forgiven, that there would not be reconciliation, but there must be divorce. And that flies in the face of all that God taught his people, that mercy is one of the products of true righteousness. And Joseph, being a just and righteous man, had the sense of that mercy in his own desire toward Mary. But it would have been easy enough to fear what he and his family might face in terms of social stigma if he went through with the marriage. But when the angel told Joseph not to fear, that of course sealed the deal, and they continued on. But let's not think that that was the end of that particular issue, because we see the earthly parentage of our Lord come back up when he's debating with the Pharisees about who he is, who his father is, and who their father is in John chapter 8. In verse 39 we read, "They answered him, 'Abraham is our father.' Jesus said to them, 'If you were Abraham's children, you would be doing the works Abraham did. But now you seek to kill me, a man who has told you the truth that I heard from God. This is not what Abraham did. You are doing the works your father did.'" And friends, at this point, the Pharisees are getting angry because Jesus is claiming that they are not Abraham's children, which would mean that they're not Jews, that they're not God's people. And that strikes at the very core of their identity. And so in retaliation, they strike back at what they think is the very core of Jesus' identity. We read here again, "They said to him, 'We were not born of sexual immorality. We have one Father, even God.'" And there it is. We were not born of sexual immorality. Now that may seem like a very tame insult by today's standards, but that is intended as a deep thrust and cut to the very heart of this religious upstart before them. Jesus, you're talking to us about our ancestral parentage. Where do you get off doing that? Your mother conceived you in adultery. You're an illegitimate son yourself. And here you're telling us that we aren't children of Abraham. Friends, as soon as Jesus came on the scene and became a threat to the religious authorities, they did their homework. They found out everything they could about him. And guess what story came up? Yep, the story that Mary was pregnant before Joseph married her. Who knows if Mary and Joseph even told anyone else about the angels announcing who their son would be, but clearly either no one believed, which wouldn't be surprising at all, or the story didn't go any further than that, because the only story the Pharisees got, or at least cared about, was that Jesus was an illegitimate child by all perceptions. And so that stigma had followed Mary and Joseph and Jesus himself all this way. And while clearly the vast majority of people were willing to set all that aside, particularly in light of Jesus' powerful teaching and his wonderful miracles, but when it came to those rival religious authorities, the accusation of his mother's apparent infidelity and his own illegitimacy came quickly, as soon as Jesus had scored a few hits against them. And so, friends, for this morning, I just hope we can identify with Jesus just that much better. He really is a high priest who can sympathize with us. He knows what it's like for people to not let you forget your past, even when the stories about your past aren't even true. He knows what it feels like when people just won't let things go. They won't let you grow up. They won't let you be a different person than who you used to be or who people thought you used to be. So, friends, if you struggle with any of that, you can be assured that you can go to Jesus with those hurts, and maybe even with the bitterness that you're experiencing on account of those hurts. He knows what it feels like. And for that reason, you can approach the throne of grace with confidence to receive the grace and mercy you need. Have a good and godly day, and I look forward to sharing with you again tomorrow.